So I am flanked by lawyers this morning.
Hey, we beg.
Please, these are EIB
We
lawyers.
beg.
I am flanked by EIB lawyers this morning, and it's exciting to see you, Captain. Good morning.
Good morning, Lily.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing well.
Serwaa, how are you?
I'm doing
I
very
like
well.
your energy this morning.
Ah.
It's not easy. And when you are looking at the issue that you ladies were talking about, it's quite disturbing, very, very disturbing to as a nation, to find ourselves in a situation like that. So disgraceful. I mean, it put the name of the country in a light that nobody wants to be. How can we have a situation like this? Persons who we think are part of a team will go to Norway, and this is the story that we have been told. I watched something Dean, and I'm thought, we need to get to the bottom of this one. It shouldn't be left hanging as has been the situation all the time. The football people or the sports people will have to be up and doing. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's do a quick review of what happened last week Friday.
Yes.
And then we'll dovetail into events for today's court.
Yes, so today I'll be talking to you about moot courts. And this will be familiar with something like that, because it is more like it's an event for law students where more like practically they have been taken through. You come and demonstrate what happened in the courtroom. So you get the experience before even you are done with your course and all that. So African Law Students Association put together, in fact, they launched a moot court, international moot court competition. In fact, this very one was named after Sarah Fafa Podo, one astute lawyer. In fact, she is a chief state attorney, also a director of legals at the Ministry of Energy. They named that particular moot court competition after her, and it was launched. But let's go and watch who and who were there for that particular launch. The first is the president of the Ghana Bar Association, Greater Accra Region, Kwesi Agbesi Jakpasu. Let's hear from his advice for the students in relation to that.
You may often hear that as a lawyer, you're only as good as your brief. That may be simplistic, as your poor advocacy in court can actually result in judgment against your client, even though you have a fantastic brief. About 30 years ago, when I commenced studies as a law student, I used my long vacations to shadow an uncle of mine in the courts in Kumasi. These experiences helped prepare me for my moot court examination during my professional training at the Ghana School of Law, and has shaped my advocacy at the bar. Participating in moot court helps a great deal in preparing law students for advocacy work in the courtroom and other dispute settlement fora. The act of speaking, listening when your colleague is on his feet, doing quick research on your phone or laptop whilst listening to the submissions of your colleague on his feet will be part of your lives till death. So as you prepare for this competition, remember that if you get the fundamentals right at this stage, you have the potential to get it right when you start your professional lives as advocates. Remember that good advocacy based on sound law will help shape the future of the concept of justice. I wish to commend my learned friend Sarah Fafakbodo for finding time, despite her busy schedule as Director Legal at the Energy Ministry, to mentor law students and young lawyers. I wish to commend the African Law Students Association for promoting this competition. On behalf of the Greater Accra Bar, I wish you a successful competition. Thank you very much.
So that is the president of the Greater Accra Regional Bar, Kwesi Agbesi Jakpasu. In fact, he's contesting for the national presidency. So in the subsequent times, we'll have an exclusive interview with
I think
him,
that you should.
and then we'll
And
play
even though I don't know the other,
Yes,
other
contestants.
contestants, I like Agbesi. I'm rooting for Agbesi. Yes, I have a bias towards Agbesi. So
Unfortunately, you do not have a vote.
sadly, I know, right? So, I mean, the lawyers who are watching me this morning, please vote for Agbesi.
So he was there to throw his support behind this very competition. But let's go and listen to the woman whom the competition was named after, Sarah Fafakbodo.
I've been working with the law students, both undergrad and then at the Ghana Law School. They always call on me for help because years back, I found a foundation really to impact on the young ones coming up. I realized that there is a gap between the law students, undergrad, and the profession itself. So it's a platform that I'm really passionate about, to really mentor them, empower them to really join the legal profession and make it a success.
If you look at the kind of people that you brought together to deliver speeches and all that, how do you see this whole competition like?
I think it's something that has come to stay. I mean, like if you heard from Professor Abochi, sometimes you launch these big things and it doesn't see the light of day. One thing that anybody knows about me, I'm a very passionate person, and I really will not put my name to something that I will look at it and see it die. And it's also very fulfilling to really always give back, and it's something that is a second nature to me, giving back. I've learned a lot from great people. I've been mentored by a lot of intelligent and successful lawyers, and it's just in line that I always also have to really mentor a lot of these young ones coming up who really look up to me and come to me for a lot of help, and both in the professional field and also personally. And
Okay, so that's Sarah
Fafakbodo. So this whole competition is named after her, and so because of what she has done in the legal setting, the students are so much elated about her involvement and all that. But let's go also and listen to the president of the International African Law Student Association, what he has to say by way of how they managed to put together this whole activity.
First of all, share with us, what is this day for?
Actually, this day means a lot to me. I'm very happy to come up with this project because the preparation has been more than 7 months, and I'm very thrilled to have launched this competition, and I know this is the gateway for us to sell Africa's culture to the rest of the other continents, and I'm very happy to be championing this project. Thank you.
We've had a lot of moot court competition. How different is this one?
Trust me, this is going to be exceptional because looking in the history of Africa's legal education, we do not have a common moot court competition that invites other continents to Africa. But this is the very first time Africa is going to receive other people from Australia, Europe, Asia, and all over the world to witness the rich culture Africa has. Thank you.
After this launch, what should your people, law students, look forward to?
After this launch, what they should look forward is nothing but the best, because we are releasing the problem question right away of this moot launch, and we are also going to try our best to communicate with our country representative to start with reviewing memorials from their respective countries, and we are also going to try our best to have strong partnership with various bar associations.
Thursday.
Okay.
Right. So yeah.
So that's the president of the African Law Student Association. So they put together this whole launch, and then they look forward to see a lot of the law students participate in that. And then, in fact, this event brought together persons from the international world, Brazil, Uganda, wherever, people who are well versed in legal matters. And Professor Abochi, Dean of the University of UPSA, also joined.
Yeah, the UPSA Law School.
And I was taking them through how important moot court activities are to the student who want to go to the law school, who is aspiring to become a lawyer. So going forward, we'll bring you more in relation to this very matter.
Absolutely. So let's look at some of the cases. Review of the, Agrada was in court.
Yes. Patricia Esiedua, last Thursday she was in court.
Evangelist, please, she's not Agrada anymore.
I'm only
She's Evangelist Mama Pat.
So that is evangelist according to Serwaa.
What do you mean according to me? That woman is evangelist. Yeah, say Evangelist Mama Pat.
And that is her beautiful.
Yes, so this is how she appeared in court.
She
Well
always
dressed,
wears white to court.
I tell you.
And the police station.
Yes, so she was in court last week, and in fact, the issue was simple. This issue has come out before at the circuit court, and then she was asked to discharge because the AG took over the case docket, and last week she was arraigned at the High Court together with some others, and of course, in relation to some nude pictures that was allegedly circulated, and she has been charged with it. She pleaded not guilty, and then she has been granted bail, 200,000 Ghana cedi, 2 sureties. But they've been able to meet their bail condition.
Why not?
But we've been speaking to...
Guy.
You said she's no more Agrada.
But that's, you know of Sika Guy. The money go
The
away.
issue of Sika Guy was a subject matter of a court action, so don't forget.
Actually, you're right.
Yes. So let's
Anyway.
go. She's been speaking to us after the court.
Oh,
session.
nice.
Yes, so
Okay.
let's go and hear from Nana Agrada.
No.
Patricia.
Evangelist Mama Pat.
I'm only telling you the name of the court docket.
Okay.
That is all.
Okay.
But if you want to add whatsoever, add, please do. Let's hear Nana Agrada.
Asedama Ewede. Nya etie ne se uti news du abonten se yasache Mama Pata enye nokore. Eye case a SC 2020 na yewo circuit court 10. And omo ye say attorney general after docket. So omo custody eba they will call us. It's I think say Monday no an investigator no a friend me e ka tell me say docket no aba na eba ye no ye court 10 circuit court no mo ye beba high court 3 nyame adom ye bedu ye bibia ye boko ama nyankopon adom judge no ama ye bail ama ye meet ye bail conditions send ye nyina ye nim say emra no say ye mo obi bail a sabe enya de a wo de pen tro ya na wo ko e process enti eno na ama ya chewa hakakra na nyankopon adom ye process no abibia eye kama enti enye case fufuro bia eye 2020 so for bia ye friend no so for apia a ode kwada police for say eye Mama Pat ma send eye sabe ne ebeda bonse dia mo ama me so ma send ama abayo bi e friend say na Brown. It's a buy and Nana Brown and they the witness of the case. And the union I seen him Mama Pat and send a video. It's in the journal. The then Yamia say, Yanya bill. Now one of the machine now be at meeting the bill condition. Now Yanya Yanya Suit, the name of no, and yes, and who will be a 2020 January.
Nana
That
Agrada.
is Patricia
Evangelist
Esiedua.
Patricia
Of course.
Esiedua.
A.K. Nana Agrada. So all that she's doing, I don't like the look you're giving. So. You said you visit Nana Agrada very soon. So
The church.
the
Yeah.
church.
You know, I'm her #1 fan.
Number one. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And the church members will be happy to see you.
Oh, the church
Very,
members,
very
me and the church members, we are 2 different people. They don't even know there's something called social media. But I really like her.
Okay. Heaven Way Champion International Ministry. So that's the name of the church that you want to go. So what that she's been saying is the effect that yes, this is not a new matter. It is a matter that came up some time ago at the circuit court. Now the Attorney General took 2020, yes.
Right.
Attorney General's office took the case docket. Now the advice has come. They were served to appear at the criminal court 3. They came. So they were granted bail and they have met their bail condition. It's not a new case. And what they are saying is that she has not done anything as has been charged. But of course, time will tell as and when the case, the trial begins and all that. So 28th of August, she'll have to appear before a vacation court. And then subsequently in October, you have to appear. The court, presided over by Justice Mary Mami Ikwe-Yenzu, has directed the prosecution led by Stella Ohine Apia, a principal state attorney, and the team to file their disclosure document within the 4-week period, and another 4 weeks to file their witness statement, so that the case will progress by way of case management conference. So that is what happened in relation to this. Nana, Patricia is here in this case, evangelist.
Evangelist Mama Pat. Now, Evangelist Mama Pat is Siama, please.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
you need
so
to add that.
That's what happened in relation to this very case.
No, we will not add it because isn't it the High Court judge who said that it is not really important to add your husband's name to your name now?
Please, for her, she's very particular.
She went to court and signed, so if she decides to use it, that's fine.
Yeah,
But the court will only be dealing with...
Will you use your husband's name?
Well, there will be a conversation between the two of us.
You have to agree.
But would you?
But now, why not?
So that you come and be washing your hands on set, you know, when you come and start washing.
Anyway,
true. That's what Lily has been doing. You know, she's engaged. Very small time. She's doing like this. Like if she has something which is itching the back of her palms. That's what she's been doing.
For those who are watching, if you don't know the strategies, that's what Lily is doing. You will do a lot of washing.
I'll teach you more strategies in the coming days. Anyway, Western Togoland was in court.
Yes, so
some of them have been convicted.
This case, somebody will say, every day Western Togoland. Yes. You notice that initially over 70 people were arrested in relation to the incident that took place in the Volta region at the time and all that. And they've been put into groups. So I can tell you already, 3 groups a lot of them have been jailed, some 5 years, some 4 years and all that. But this very group were so lucky. I'm saying lucky because of what has happened to other groups.
Okay.
Then they were given maximum punishment. In fact, maximum punishment when you are found guilty, being a member of a prohibited organization, participating in activities of prohibited organization, making contributions and all that. In fact, at some point in time, they were also of possession of ammunition without lawful authority. But those the court was of the view that prosecution wasn't able to prove. But in the issue of belonging to a prohibited organization, the court said, look, the prosecution was able to prove some of the charges again. In fact, 18 of them. And then the accused persons were 7. Only 1 person managed to escape. The remaining 6, 2 of them were lucky. Because of their ages, the court fined them.
Okay.
Yes. The court fined them 500 penalty units. And the 500 penalty unit, we know that a penalty unit is 12 cedis, so times 12. That is 5,000 Ghana cedis. In default, the 2 of them, the court is saying that they will go a year in prison. But the remaining 4, all of them have 1 year prison custody or custodial sentences. And then, in addition to 200 penalty in the 2,400 Ghana cedis. So that is how come I'm saying that this group were like lucky. But the others, 4 years, 5 years, and you pay a fine in addition and all that. So that is what happened before Justice Comfort Tasiame of the Criminal Court 4. So this is one of the cases that took place on Friday.
Let's look at some of the cases coming up.
Yes.
Mike Nineku is still in court, calling more witnesses.
Yes, it is looking likely that the 61 will not hold. It is becoming so likely that 61 will not hold because it looked like, as per the case management plan, completion plan that was held on Friday, the number has reduced drastically. But in fact, what is important now is that 21st and 22nd witnesses, defense witnesses, have been discharged on Friday when they appeared before Justice Serwaa. In fact, what is interesting about these 2 witnesses is that prosecution did not ask any question, did not cross-examine them. They say that they did not have any questions for them. And what they came to testify is to tell the court that, yes, Michael Nineku and his companies purchased properties from them which they used for offices. So they came and told the court that, yeah, they sold those properties to the accused person. And so today, the case will continue with the 23rd defense witness for Michael Nineku to appear before the court and testify.
Kokobo?
Yes. So that case is also on. It's not gone yet. So the court presided over by Justice Abuaje Tando will be dealing with the 7th witness for the second accused person, businessman, Seidu Agongo and his company, Agricole Ghana Limited. Dr. Sivno Kwabno Opini will also be in court in relation to this matter. So these are the cases that we do expecting by way of high-profile cases that are pending before the court. And the vacation is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Today's date is
Today's 22nd.
22nd.
So just about 9
days.
9 days.
July is 31.
Yeah.
So 9 days more to legal vacation. Yes. So most cases from now, if you are adjourning, then you should know that you'll be going to next year in the legal calendar.
Yeah,
so
the next legal
October
year.
and beyond. Yes. So these are some of the things that we should expect.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you to the deal.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You
and
too.
we'll meet here, God willing, tomorrow.
Definitely.
For what happened in courts today. That'll be it for courts today. Let's bring you what's on the papers today.
We begin with the Daily Graphic. Banner headline, EC will be fair. Chairperson assures 2024 election stakeholders. And this is one of the topics that we'll discuss on the Breakfast Review. We'll protect your ballot. Mahama affirms. Parliament passes Ghana Civil Aviation Bill. Joe Biden withdraws from U.S. presidential race. Endorses Kamala Harris. That's it for the Daily Graphic.
The Ghanaian publisher on the issue of state capture, list of state lands Mahama sold to cronies is there. If you're interested, you can look at it. ECOWAS Parliament meets in Winneba again. Akufo-Addo approves local governance university, and Akufo-Addo commends Badia's role in Africa's development. Divert salaries of irresponsible parents to what? That's according to the Ochini. I agree.
Let's see what the Ghanaian Observer says. University of Local Governance and Development to start soon. Akufo-Addo to commission 320 new homes for police service. Bawumia's proposed tax system, ideal for Ghana's economy. That's according to Dr. Bano. Akufo-Addo highlights Badia's role in Africa's development. Boss posts sterling financial performance in 3 years.
The Daily Searchlight, Nigeria minister blows whistle on 40% commission on scandal on World Bank loans. What about Ghana?
Now, the Ghanaian Times says election 2024 polls will be free, fair, transparent, EC assures. Let's implement Mbeki Commission findings on illicit financial flows. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. NDC will capture power in 2024 general elections. That's according to the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. Whenever to host ECOWAS Parliament.
The Daily Guide newspaper, whenever hosts ECOWAS Parliament, NDC sold state lands to cronies. Also captured here. Champion African education, Obasanjo to Educhum, and SDA is not voting on December 7. That's according to the church. Then looks like they may have to be added to the special voting. Credible elections or coup? Well, I haven't read the details of that story, so I cannot say. Also, there's the issue of the Joe Biden dropping out of the U.S. race. And, you know, I wish that they could bring Michelle
Obama?
Yeah.
To contest?
Yes. Because I think that she's more popular and she has been very much involved in the presidency. She was very much involved in the presidency of Barack. And, she, you know, with them, they may have a higher chance of winning.
And you think Americans will vote her?
I think so. I think so. I honestly, that's just, you know, my gut feeling, and it'll be
Well,
quite
the president
easier
has
to.
endorsed Kamala.
Well,
Anyway.
it can only be a wish, right? Anyway,
yeah. If wishes were horses,
but
unfortunately.
you're very happy as a feminist, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I knew it. Okay.
I'm sure we all are. Are you not?
Oh, I am. But my level of excitement cannot be compared to yours. Anyway, that's it for the newspaper. Stay with us. After the break, we'll sit with the guests. This is GH Today. I am...
And I'm Lily Mohammed. We're back shortly. So my guests are seated. This morning I've been joined by Dr. Dixon Adomakusi. He's Member of Parliament for Anyaso Utum, and Mohammed Shukbaru is Member of Parliament for Sisala West. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
Well, I think I'll let him go first. you will let me go first.
Yeah.
They ask you how was your weekend, so let us know your weekend, because it is only MPP people that are enjoying these days. For us, as usual, is the management. My week has been, in terms of health-wise, good, but in terms of pocket-wise, as you know, the system is so dry, very hard. Actually, people are calling, for support if you have, especially when you have a government that has really failed the people. I happen to come from a constituency that major activity is farming, and this is the farming season.
Yeah.
The fertilizer demands, people are calling for support because the planting for food and job, the first two, they said that they've implemented, it's really not working. As we speak, the farming.
Look.
Well, since you've opened it, let me see, my weekend was good. Friday, I joined my municipal for training on how to prevent mother-to-child transmission of hepatitis B. And let me add that on the 28th is the World Health chosen day for hepatitis. So,
Hepatitis?
Yes, B.
Oh,
Yeah. So
28th of this month.
Yes.
Yeah, today I'm currently carrying out an exercise in my constituency. I partner with Liver Cancer Foundation.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of cases are really, hepatitis B and C in the north. And my constituency is one of the most hit constituencies. So they are doing the screening today.
Okay.
And they will continue tomorrow. About 6 different communities. Cluster the constituency. We're trying to see how we can identify those that are affected at early stage. Then we'll look at how it can be treated. In fact, they have a lot of machines. They are going to do, even including liver scans and all of that. People that
Fantastic.
have liver. Because, look, for the
So you
past
see, you did something.
Yes, for the
nice.
past for the past
So
year.
his weekend is
Yes.
eventful, yeah.
Yeah, for the past year, Doc, I can tell you, we lost young guys, numbering 6 people from hepatitis B. I personally brought about 2 of them to Accra here trying to treat. Last year, about 2, and just 3 months ago, the last person that came here was around February, and he passed somewhere in May. These are all young guys between age of 30 and 40.
Human resource base.
Human resource base, and we can continue to be losing our young guys. And one of the major things that we're lacking is the awareness. People really do not even, they are not aware of it. And so, the northern culture, how we even eat. We love one another. We sit together at bases trying to take, our popular tea we call attire. And, many of these things, help in spreading. So I think it is time for us as leaders to, if we can really look at it, probably if government can, people
you're
like
preaching
you,
to the choir.
yes, can make a statement
Yeah.
so that people can actually,
Yeah.
take it up to educate the public about it. It's killing more than malaria and it's killing more than HIV.
Well, the prevalence is about 13%, which means that out of 100, 13 people are positive.
Yep.
And I'm happy he's making a very key point. If we don't prevent breastfeeding mothers from transferring it to their babies, when your child is in the prime, like the 30s he's talking about, is when the disease will rage, and nothing can be done during those periods, and that's the unfortunate bit. So in line with this whole week, I think hepatitis B awareness is something I'm pushing, something I'm helping with, and I provide the immunoglobulins for some mothers who cannot really afford.
Okay.
It's quite expensive, about 1,000 Ghana per person.
Oh, wow.
And that on Friday I committed to 20 mothers.
It's really expensive. The people are from Accra. You can imagine from here to Sisala West. They travel about almost 40 different health workers from Accra here. And they're starting the screening today.
I'd love to see the results when they're done
Yeah,
in terms of the number of cases.
Yes.
Because it's not a silent killer, but we are quiet on it in Ghana.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think
inappropriate reporting is also another bit. People test, and we're not collating the data. And I think as a country, one of our nemesis, one of our ills of our society is not capturing information properly.
We don't have adequate data.
Yes, yes, yes.
Anyway.
And
So
that impairs our management of a lot of things.
Anyway, kudos to the both of you. I pray that your colleagues will emulate so that we can eliminate
I will
a
push
number
it. We'll push
a
it.
number
I
of
think
these.
we'll push it.
Okay, so let's look at the issues on the table this morning. Fitch
okay.
has predicted a win for the NDC in the December polls. They have predicted victory for the NDC in the December. That's not the first time. Somewhere in January, they came out with same polls. It was around 54%, same 54%. Global Info Analytics has also predicted the NDC will win. Just that this time around, the number has diminished. Before it was 54, then it came to 53, now 51. I don't know what it means for the NPP. Is it usual disregard, or this time around, it will serve as a guide for you as the NPP? For the NDC, I'm sure it's business as usual to rejoice. What of the smaller political parties as well? Let me start with you, Doc.
Well, I've been misunderstood when I talked about this, but I think I'll try to be very clear about my thoughts on this. First thing, I think polls are important, regardless. But we always have to be wary of polls. I mean, I can cite Hillary Clinton's polls, which were very positive. In fact, even my grandmother in my village in Kwo believed that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Only for us to be surprised. So I believe that polls are a necessary thing in politics. It helps you shape your campaign as well, and it helps you wake up. I see this one as a wake-up call for the MPP, and I see it as an opportunity for us to, better plan, better execute, and revisit our strategy for winning. Now, the other thing is that I'm suspicious about the 54%. And why do I say that? And I have quoted that every party will struggle to even hit 52% in this election because, listen, I have to be very honest about it. Apparently, the Cheddars and the Movement for Change are going to nibble a little bit in both of us, our strongholds. The Western region, Central, I hear Cheddar is making inroads there a little. Also Movement for Change a little. And then when you go to Volta, the same thing for the NDC. So as it stands, to hit 52% and above, I'm very suspicious. So it makes me, a bit, skeptical about the percentage. About the percentage. Now, be it as it may, and this is where people misunderstood me. In South Africa, the ANC still won. Granted, they lost many seats. When you go,
that actually Fitch predicted.
Well, yes, no problem. But I'm making a case of the wins being with, against sitting governments. England, unfortunate situation where several seats were lost. France just lost 100 seats. Netherlands too. I think now they have an independent candidate who won, and many more instances where the tides are a bit not in favor of sitting governments. So from a global perspective, since we want to retain and maintain power, we need to work extra hard to secure our win and not take for granted anything. So one, based on global trends, Fitch must admit that yes, the pandemic has put many governments in bad taste, and it has not been, unique to just Ghana, but many other places. However, we're hoping that Ghanaians would appreciate the fact that, listen, truth be told, the global crisis is not something that hits just Ghana. It's worldwide. people are not necessarily happy with governments across the world. Even Donald Trump admits, Donald Trump is usually very coy, but he admits that the pandemic really affected his political fortunes in the last election. So for Donald Trump to admit that, this is somebody who hardly admits anything, but he admits that the pandemic was very injurious to his fortunes. Now, I think that we ought to keep going back to our Ghanaian people and make it clear that nobody goes into politics wishing ill for the country. The president was very clear about this statement that we can't bring lives back, but it's the economy. And I must say that on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we're going to hear in some there. And what I mean by that is that the budget statement from Finance Ministry,
is that the Christian name for this one?
No.
Okay.
No.
So this is your name?
This is my name. I'm giving it because the breeze, the scent of the budget, not the perfume, but the scent. Looking at the positives in terms of the dollar stabilization, in terms of the monies that we've gotten, the third tranche, which is a very positive, in terms of the metrics that the IMF gave us that we're performing well. I see Finance Minister telling us that things are turning around into a very positive for us in an election year. And I think that some of the discontent that traders, businessmen may have had will soon soften. Some of the stance will soon soften. And the NDC might not necessarily be happy with this. But I am happy because when Ghana succeeds, we all succeed. And it's not about wishing ill for the MPP in an election year. It's about, if things don't go well for us in election year, we all suffer. The petrol station doesn't know MPP, NDC. We all buy at the same cost. And
Transport fares, don't know.
And I would always use this opportunity to say that all members of parliament do not get coupons for fuel. People think we do. And as we move on, I mean, I'll talk about some other things, but let me say that MPP is mindful, is aware of the Fitch's thing. Granted, the 54% is, from where I sit, is impossible numerically for any party. And I'm saying any party, I choose my words carefully because I was misquoted, to gain above 52%. That is my prediction. If even, should the unfortunate happen that the NDC should win, crossing 52 this election from even where they were last election, and the fact that they are recycling somebody we already know is going to be difficult. As it stands now, American election is now so exciting because there's a huge last-minute change in the game where the people are excited about the fact that there's a new candidate, a younger candidate, and now as it stands, we don't know who the vice president of Harris, if she should be given the nod, will be. And that alone, the euphoria alone can turn the tides in favor of the Democrats, and Trump will soon be, probably struggling. I mean, because of the fact that new faces have come up, and people were, as it is, tired of seeing Biden and Trump for a while. So that phenomenon, and that thing about politics, can be very shocking. A week ago, the assassination was a big deal. It was trending, news, heavy. And what Biden has just done has just dipped the excitement about the assassination. And right now, I even feel a bit sorry for Biden. 81 years, my emotions are turning, and that emotional change in me, can be reflected in the voting. When people consider, Biden and feel sorry for Biden, and then the Democrats, and then eventually say, oh, let's give, the girl a chance. And there you are. So politics is very dynamic. And as he knows, within a space of 2 weeks to election, anything can happen. And that is why the element of surprise, can win you an election or lose you the election. So the economy is, let me say, up and running, and within a space of about 90 days, when things are very, very positive, I'm worried that the NDC might have to then go back to the drawing board to make changes to, the things that they're telling the Ghanaian people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mohammed. Mohammed?
Yes. So, just wanted to respond to some few things
That he said.
To Fitch. Respond to Fitch.
Well, I'll respond to all this about Fitch. Fitch report, for us in NDC, we are not actually looking at those research or the predictions. Of course, any ordinary person in this country, even my 10-year-old boy told me that he thinks this time round NDC is going to win because everybody is complaining. Even 10-year-old boy, he said that. And so it is about what we are experiencing in the country. You've been to two different marketplaces. You've been to Keneshi Market and you've been to Makola Market. And so you do not need someone from somewhere to come and tell you which market is far better than the other. Ghanaians in this country, they have experienced NDC government under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and they have experienced the NPP government under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Bawumia's government. And we are still experiencing. My brother made mention about the fact that it is not only in Ghana, it is a global something. And he's trying to cite countries like France, UK, South Africa, and what have you. Yes, but the pandemic did not start today. Those factors he cited, for instance, before 2020 elections, we were experiencing the pandemic and things were far worse than this. But because of the foundation laid by His Excellency, the former president, when NPP took over power from 2016, the leverage on those foundations he laid, those decisions he made, and they saw the economy, progressing then. And so when the pandemic came and everything went back, Ghanaians still at the time, even though we still think that things or the 2020 elections wasn't the true reflection on the figure, I would say that people still at that time think that they should give MPP the second chance. And they gave you the second chance. You got all the monies. I would even say, and I've been saying that the pandemic, for instance, the COVID-19 brought us a lot of money than any other country. Yet we could not use that same money to turn around our economy. And you would hear that even former appointees who are still members of parliament in NPP government who served not any other ministry than the finance ministry. The former deputy finance minister, Kweku Kwatin, who is the immediate past chairman on the finance committee, said clearly on television when he was interviewed, he says that, but for the even if the pandemic had not happened to Ghana, we will still be where we are. He said it. I'm quoting. I'm not the one who said it. And this is somebody who worked, not just a mere worker, Minister of Finance, an appointee of your own government.
He said based on
You see,
Many
so
regimes.
he spoke about
He
spoke about the
no,
expenditure.
are you understanding me?
Please.
No,
Doc,
he meant that
please,
decisions
when you were
taken by the entire country.
please,
sorry,
Doc,
but I need clarification.
When you were speaking, I kept quiet. He said that.
I'll be quiet.
And nobody, he was not debating anybody. He alone was, he and the media. And he says that even though, he says that even if the pandemic had not happened to Ghana, we'll still be where we are, because he disagreed with certain expenditure that this government have incurred. And we have always maintained that the mismanagement of the resources of this country, some of the things that they are engaged, certainly would one day lead us to a place that you and I will find ourselves wanting. And this is where we are today. And so, Fish report, right, saying that NDC would win the upcoming election by 54%. It is something that everybody out there is aware of. And we are not saying that because everybody is predicting the victory for us, we will relax. We will work towards it and we'll continue to sell our policy. We'll continue to let the people understand what the 24-hour economy and many more policies His Excellency GHOne Mohammed is bringing back to revise the economy and to bring back Ghana to where it was. We'll continue to go to the people of the country and let them understand the difference.
You're launching your campaign on 27th?
On 27th in Tamale. And we are going to, from 27th onwards, all of us are going to go back to our various constituencies to sell the message and let them know the difference. And already the people are aware. He says something, yes, of course, I am not saying in politics, 1 day is like 1 week. 1 week in politics is like 1 month. And 1 month in politics is like a year in politics. But not when things are happening like the way they are happening. But not when that the people of this country are taken for granted for the past 8 years. But not when the people of this country are treated with total disdain. They take decision with that, considering any feeling of the people. Look at where we are today, the exchange rate. In 2016, this very government campaigned massively on the exchange rate. Even at the time when exchange rate was 4 cedis to $1 or 4.2 to $1. Today we are almost talking about 16 to $1. And it's even difficult. Somebody that we branded as the most economic whiskey. In fact, let me quote the wife. He said that my husband is economic whiskey. Today cannot, when he is speaking, for you to hear the vice president mention economy, then it's like telling, I don't know the kind of, to use. I have been watching him, following his campaign, listening to his presentation, just waiting to hear him mention economy. He wouldn't. Exchange rate has become a forbidden word, statement in the MPP campaign. But these are things they used to campaign on. You have failed the business community. You have failed every sector of the economy. And when I hear him say that they will not relax, this particular report is saying that they should work hard. You can only work hard in government. You got the chance for 8 years to work hard so that your own legacies will speak for yourself. It is not what you go back to tell the people. In fact, you know that many Ghanaians today, when they see some of your appointees, when they see His Excellency, the president or the vice president speak, people begin to get angry. And I know, yes. In fact, the neutrals, when they hear him speak, they begin to get angry and they start offing their television set. That is the truth. Because they've heard him spoke in the past. They've heard him organize all the, lectures.
But how do you know? You're not in their homes. How do you know?
I am a Ghanaian just like you. And I have friends. Just like he has friends in NDC. I have friends who are MPP. I have friends who are not even into politics. I have friends in the religious, how do you call it?
The religious sector.
So people who in the paddling care about party A or B, what they care is that they want the best for the country. They are saying that they just don't want to even hear him because he misled them. He made them understood that he, the vice president, was somebody who was coming to save the country. Little did they know that he is the most empty vice president. And when I hear people saying that the best vice president, to be a talkative doesn't make you an intelligent person. If they say the most talkative, he's that one, you can't take it away from him. When it comes to talkative, vice president is His Excellency, the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But for somebody who takes pragmatic decision or, implement policies that would go a long way to address the suffering, all his policies that he implemented, I have never seen any that we are benefiting from. Nothing. Today, he's run from the economy, handling somebody that was seen as someone who was going to be in charge of the economy. He's run away from that sector. Now he's saying that he is the, how do you call it? Is it digitalization. Something that is supposed to be championed by the Ministry of Education, led by ESLA.
No,
when last?
Communication.
Communication, rather. Communication. When last did we even hear, even the sector minister, communication minister, even mention something, digitalization? Even if he has to do with somebody launching his small, IT firm, they will go and bring him just because they are trying to rebrand it. But Ghanaians are smart. Ghanaians are very descending. Rebranding something or rebranding somebody, we have been with him when he was not in power. We have been with him and we have seen all what he can do. We will not accept. If they want, they should go and rebranding as the best digitalization or whatever. This is not what we want. Somebody who has vision for the country. Look, when you go around the country, there's no any region that you will not see His Excellency, the former president. My region, for instance, if you go to Upper West, one of the best regional hospitals is in Serwaa. Go there. When you enter the regional hospital, you see for yourself, and yes, this is what we're talking about, Upper West. These people came and even promised us. And my problem in this country sometimes has to do with you, the media. How you used to be proactive. Honestly, to me, I think that you are not proactive like you used to be.
Really?
Under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And I appreciate that. Look,
you
remember
that's unfair for you to say.
Well, that is my personal opinion. Okay. That's my observation, though. Okay. You remember in 2020, when His Excellency, the President, was addressing the people of this country, he first came out with agenda, 88 hospitals? 88 hospitals. That's about 5 years or 6 years. That was 2025 years. And my district, no, he's
2024 years.
2020?
Yeah, 4 years.
Well, 2020, it wasn't somewhere December. It was, when the pandemic started.
But that's
so even if you say 4, and he first said they were going to build new 88 district hospitals. My district was part. Are you aware that for the past 4 years, that hospital hasn't gotten to 70% completion? And many of my people, and I always say it, when it comes to healthcare, we have found one thing. We have to travel for several hours. I just mentioned here that I have to transport about 40 medical teams to the district to just go and do medical screening and attend to some other people who are seeking for medical attention. We do not have that in Sisala West. They later came back to say that they were going to do 111. As we speak, not even a single one. If one is commissioned, probably you can correct me. I stand to be corrected. I'm not aware. I expect the media, at least for now, should be bringing out those reports, visiting,
and
doing stories about it, and let Ghanaians know that these particular projects were promised in 4 years ago. Up to now, not even a single one or two, even if it is one. How many have been commissioned so far? These are things, several other promises were made. Nothing has been done about it. And so for the fish report, it is something that everybody is aware of. As I said, and I know deep down my brother, he knows that Ghanaians come 2020 December will certainly reject. 2024 December will certainly reject their government because they have failed the people of this country. And if you go to the business community, all sectors of the economy. I come from where agriculture is our major, activity. In fact, I am proud. Okay. Yes, I'm proud to say that we are the best producers of, maize in Ghana. The quality maize. The Agri Minister himself said it. The whole world, if you want quality maize, there's Sisale areas, and the people are struggling to afford their farm input. People cannot afford to buy fertilizer just to feed the country. People cannot afford to buy weedicide, all because His Excellency, the Vice President, refused to manage the economy. Therefore, the cedi today has depreciated and becomes one of the weakest currency in the world, reported by other agencies. I am not the one saying it. And so it has gotten to a time farmers are struggling, and for them, again, came out somewhere last year to say that they were going to implement launching planting for food and job phase 2. As I speak, I said it in when I was responding to how we are faring. As I speak, the last 3 weeks I was with Minister for Agric. We went to Ho for a particular project commissioning. He mentioned it there that they've started dispatching farm inputs to the various districts for in-one, distribution. My district, I spoke with the district director of Agric. They only got seed. And anybody who knows the northern sector raining pattern, especially the Sisale area, if you do any planting at the end of July or even at this time, you are not going to harvest anything. You have not, you said they only brought the seed when people are done planting, and you are not bringing the seed. How are they going to benefit from it? Where are they going to get fertilizer? The fertilizer hasn't gotten to the place. They are buying from the competitive marketing. And the bag of fertilizer is ranging from 450, 470 Ghana cedis. How many farmers can afford? These are things that we are talking about. And so when people are genuinely complaining about the hardship, and somebody is out there shouting, breaking the 8, do you know how they really look at you? If not because Ghana, we are a country that is law-abiding. For you to come and stand in front of me and say breaking the 8, I should have given you a dirty slap, because I cannot be struggling.
Decorum, please.
No, I'm just saying, I'm saying that if not because Ghana, we are a law-abiding nation. Because you cannot inflate.
I appreciate you.
Are there clean slabs?
But please,
There are clean slabs.
retract. I want us to be very decorous.
Oh no, I'm not saying. I said I should. I'm not saying I should. I'm saying that if not because Ghana is a law-abiding nation,
like
for you to inflict pains. Look, let me just use you and I as an example. If I inflict any pain on you, and I come to stand in front of you trying to talk to you as though everything is all right, you can imagine the kind of pain that you'll be going through. You know, but if I come to you and let you know, please, I am so sorry.
That I can understand.
Yes, but if I come to you and say, please, I am so sorry, please forgive me. In fact, I thought I could have done better, but honestly, that wasn't the case. It is different. But these are people, when they go out there, instead of them apologizing to the people of this country, they'll still go and stand somewhere. When they get a platform, they will be shouting, breaking the 8. Breaking which 8?
Okay. Thank you very much. You have a few rebuttals. You have
just one key thing.
Yeah. And just a minute, and then we can move to our next topic.
And I want to be very specific that the digital economy is still about the economy. And I say this because the likes of Zoom, the likes of many other e-commerce businesses are making trillions of dollars. So let me be very factual that talking about computerization, I mean, which we know, I mean, Suparo knows that the port revenues have gone up because of implementation of computerization. So the digital economy is still really about Ghana's GDP. And that is very important. People have created businesses in the electronic domain. Amazon now is a big deal, one of the richest. And even, Twitter, all of these organizations are heavy industries. And as we sit here, people are doing sales via, phone and all that, and making a lot of e-commerce money. So I beg to differ in the sense that when the vice president or our flag bearer or our presidential candidate, Dr. Baumia, is talking about computerization, digitalization, it is still about the GDP of Ghana. And any improvement that goes into digitalization will just increase revenue for government and increase revenue in this country. So I need to make that submission.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will take a quick break here. When we return, we'll talk about the Afrobarometer report, which reveals that a number of African youth actually prefer military rule to democracy. Has democracy outlived its usefulness? We are back after this breather. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to the show. This is still the Breakfast Review here in GH Today. We're still discussing issues of national interest. A while ago, we discussed the Fitch report, which suggests that the NDC will win the 2024 polls. My guests have taken a bite at that. My guest, Dr. Dixon Admakukisi, is Member of Parliament for Anyaso Utum, and Mohammed Shukbaru is Member of Parliament for Sala West. This time around, I want to talk about the Afrobarometer report, which says that a number of African youth prefer military rule to democratic rule. What does this mean for democracy? Are young people itching for the military to take control of power? Is that what is happening within the sub-region? Let me take your thoughts, Mohammed, because I started with Doc on the other topic.
So, should I refer to you as my daughter?
Yes, well, because
daughter.
my name is Mohammed, Lily Mohammed.
Yes, so this particular report, even though I personally do not support military rule, I believe that no matter what, democracy is still the best practice for us as a country or as a continent. But I think that our leaders are failing us in our continent. And so I am not surprised that many of the youth are calling or are in support of the military rule, simply because of things that are happening in our country. I would use Ghana as a case study. For instance, we're talking about unemployment, and who are those that are unemployed? You would realize that many of the people that are unemployed in our country, about 90% of them are the youth. And these are people that are supposed to be our future leaders. These are people who are the real owners. When I said they are the real owners, because if we are giving long life, we are going to at least live longer from now onwards than our parent or than the president. For the president and his life, certainly, I mean, he cannot be also, dreaming to live like you and I. And so we expect that when you are given the opportunity to provide us the opportunities, you should be able to create an enabling environment that will give us the opportunities to also have hopes. But if you see people who are rather making it difficult, for you as a young person, especially through the very institutions that they should be using to create those opportunities. The leaders are rather seen frustrating those institutions. What would you, I mean, certainly such a person would be willing that, then if this is how it should go, a military person would have done it better. At least a military leader would not be looking at appointing his cousin to be in charge of a certain sector. At least a military leader would not be looking at, because he is not my person, but he has the capacity, he has the ability, he's the best person to be giving, let's say, Minister of Agric. But because I don't like him, let me give it to somebody who barely has no experience when it comes to that particular sector. A military person would look for a best person, and because the person is a military person, if you are appointed by a military leader, you yourself, there are some things that you will not do, because you can be fired on any day, or the person can come after you. And so I am not surprised, because Look at what is currently happening in Ghana. I cited unemployment. Our institutions, for instance, look at what is happening at Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission is supposed to be seen as one of the neutral institutions in Ghana because they are seen as an institution that is supposed to be, organizing elections for us. But because the Constitution gives certain powers to the president, he has the right to appoint. And so, same Constitution says that whoever that you want to appoint must be seen as impartial. You go and appoint a card-bearing member of your political party. I don't think the people of this country or the people of our country now...
Please come again. A card-bearing member of your political party to head where?
I'm talking not to head, to be part of the commission.
Okay.
You want me to mention the deputy commissioner?
I understand.
Of Electoral Commission was the TESCOM patron at University of Ghana. One of the IT guys that was appointed was part of MPP 2020 campaign. In fact, he was the person that represented them at the Regional Coalition Center. That such a person is appointed to be part of the commission. How do you expect the people of this country to have hopes? And I was surprised when I saw when the commissioner came to the floor, Parliament, was in the chamber, was it on Friday or Thursday? Friday. And she says that she would declare any result that comes to her. That's not what we are saying. We are not saying don't declare any result that comes to you, but at least make sure you also put measures in place that would not create certain results rather than what is being, what is being voted. You understand? So if you have, leaders who are engaged in acts like this, and I sit somewhere as a youth, and I say, no, if we had a military person in charge of our affairs, that military person would not be taking decisions like this, because knowing military, they are very disciplined people. And that is why you see people in our continent saying that they prefer the military rule, because they've come to realization that it's like, our leaders have failed us. For instance, you and I were here, 2020 elections or the 2016, one village, one dam, one district, one factory, one constituency, $1 million. He is a member of parliament. He is sitting here whether his constituency has gotten that $1 million. He's a member of parliament. How many factories have been created in Nanyasotro? He's a member of parliament. How many jobs those districts, if there are even any, created? How many jobs have those factories created in his constituency? And so when people come to, these guys, they are more or less like scammers. They have scammers. And they know that a military person wouldn't have promised things like this. And for military, they always say that they want to clean the system. Even though I do not support it, because at least you and I will have the opportunity to come and sit on GHOne to speak. That freedom alone, to me, is still not, it is enough. So I would want to say that, yes, of course, all is not lost in our country. And we, the youth, we can take our own future in our hands. We should not call for military regime, but rather we should be part of the decision making. We should try and also get ourselves. Senegal, is it Senegal? Which country that elected
the youngest
president?
That's
Senegal.
Yes.
Senegal. They did that through democratic, processes by electing one of their own. We can. I'm not saying when I say one of our own, you, of course, Bawumia cannot be part of the youth bracket because there are some old leaders who are far better than even some of the young ones. For instance, he spoke about Biden. We are talking about.
So why didn't the NDC bring a younger person?
But is your mama not younger?
Is he part of the youth?
John, His Excellency, the current president, became president.
No, but you are preaching for.
I am preaching. I am saying that. I am saying in the context, because we are talking about a particular subject. So in that context, I am saying that they could rather even say that they prefer one of their own, a young person, than going for military. And I don't blame them. It is because of some of the happenings that we are seeing across the continent. And that is why many of them are calling for that, because they are disappointed. And I'm saying in the case of Ghana, we should not, all is not lost, because we still have somebody who really, he has the people at heart. We have somebody who really think about the country. We have somebody who want the forward movement of our country. We have somebody who think much about the young people. Therefore, he says that when he comes, he is coming to implement 24-hour economy so that more jobs will be created for the youth, more opportunities will be created for you and I. After GHOne morning show, my daughter Lily can still go somewhere in the evening, probably another sister TV station.
No, it is not. It is not done. That is unethical. So what? Rather,
that's
I
unethical.
can. Yes, it's unethical.
Okay, well, you are speaking about ethics.
Yes.
But in case it is not unethical and you have the opportunity, if it is not any other TV, if it is not same business, perhaps you may never know. Maybe somebody, a consultant somewhere, catering services in the night. You know, and that is the 24-hour economy we are talking about. That will increase. My daughter will not engage in massage.
Parlor.
Oh well, that is the 24-hour economy we are talking about.
Massage
so
parlor.
You have more source of, you know, income.
Okay.
And therefore, you yourself can do something better for yourself and can even create businesses. So this is what you're talking about. And I'm saying that in the case of Ghana, all is not lots. We have just 4 months. When I say 4 months, just 1, 2, 3, 4, for us to make that decision.
Okay.
For us to put Ghana on the track, for us to reset the country, for us to create jobs for the youth, for us to create more businesses for our country, for us to ensure that the businesses community in our country progress and not to retrogress. Look, when you go to the port, right? When you go to the port, I'm coming, you come. When you go to the port, about 40% of the importation that used to come through our ports are now passing through the neighboring countries. Ask yourself the reason why. I don't think if you are an importer, you prefer importing something through Lomé, right, or Ivory Coast. Because when it gets there, you still have to transfer those things into your own country. Yeah. When you have a port just by your house here, that you can bring those things here and get them clear. But because people, when they bring those things to the port here, our own country, the taxes they would be paying, you cannot even compete. So you have no option than to look for an alternative that when you bring it in, it will be more lesser because you are even using a lot of city chasing dollar to be able to import. These are so you realize that many people have frustrated. Look, I have worked in the port. I've worked with DHL Ghana. I was at how do you call it, Ghana Airport. I was at port, and I know when it comes to the importation, the number, the quantum of the containers that used to come. These days, when I speak to my colleagues, they say, bro, the place is empty. Why? Because people can no longer pay taxes. And so we're talking about somebody that will come and make Ghana work again.
So let me understand. Does it mean that should Ghanaians vote GHOne Mohammed?
Which they are going to vote, yes.
Okay. Let me ask my question, please. Should Ghanaians vote GHOne Mohammed? Will he reduce the taxes at the port currently? You see, it is not, you see, so when I spoke about the taxes, I said with the exchange rate, there are two things. You know, if you are to pay a tax on a particular goods that you imported, the duty is calculated on FOB, which is freight on board. Like that includes the cost of the invoice, the cost of transporting it to Ghana, and that is in dollars. So the exchange rate, if you do not have a government that can work at least stabilizing that exchange rate, every day, on daily basis, you continue to see, you know, duties are going up. Even some taxes can be looked at. Okay. You know, you can some taxes. Like, I mean, since you have been at the ports before.
I don't, but I know that because in the past, as compared to what we are currently experiencing, if you want me to mention, at least VAT. Look at the amount of, I mean, VAT people are paying in this country. The importers, it's more or less like a repetition something. When you are bringing something into the country, you have to pay VAT at the port. Still, when you are selling, you pay VAT. It shouldn't be. So all these things can be looked at. And the exchange rate, today look at the price of, how do you call it, fuel. It is all because of these taxes, because of Asian rate, because those that are importing the oil on daily basis are using a lot of cedis, chasing for dollar to enable them import the product into the country. And so when they bring it, they're also looking at least if they are not even making profit, at least they should be able to break even so that they can continue to be in business. And all the sectors, you have never even seen a single sector in our economy that is saying that for them, they are doing better. Okay. And so I am just saying that, yes, the youth, they have the right to say that they prefer military rule. But I think in our case in Ghana, all is not lost. It's just like with 4 months. I am calling on every youth in this country to come out to propagate the good message His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And he is not like somebody who hasn't done it before. They've seen his leadership style when he was a president. He is somebody that can be trusted. He is somebody that exhibited that, passion for his people. Therefore, I am calling on everybody, including you, to be part of the crusade for the change. But
that is why we keep giving you platforms so you can propagate your message. But
yes, and I alone cannot, and I'm doing my part. So I expect you also. If you are not even using your platform, you have a lot of friends. I know you are my daughter, and so you have a lot of friends out there. So tell them that they must all join the crusade. Okay. We are all calling for change. Okay. Therefore, we can reset the country.
All right, Doc, let me hear you.
So let me be a bit clear about the Afrobarometer. It says that they've lessened their stance on military regime, not that they have an appetite. So they've lessened their stance on, the consideration of military regime. Now, my key thing, which I keep saying, is that private enterprise stands supreme in all parts of the world, and that we ought to carefully examine what we expect from government as a people. The likes of Bill Gates, the likes of Steve Jobs, these are innovators. And I rather believe that we, as a country, may be celebrating politicians more than celebrating the engineers, more than celebrating the businessmen. And I think that perspective, that prism that we're looking through ought to change. When, as a country, our focus becomes who's the best engineer, who's the best innovator, who has done this and that, more so than the political people, who are fewer, by way. As we sit here, are we celebrating Apostle Safo enough?
Critical.
If we had 10 Apostle Safos in this country, maybe the youth will be looking at being the next Apostle Safo and not the next politician. So I really think that as the Americans have celebrated small business owners, private business owners, Silicon Valley was not created by government. Silicon Valley was created by people doing innovative things.
Yeah.
And I think that the African youth, these are my thoughts to you and to me, myself, is that we need to wake up and not be consumers of TikTok and not be the best users of Facebook or Snapchat, where we spill out so many videos and nude things and stuff like that, but rather become the creators of the TikToks of the world.
Yeah.
And if that becomes our aspiration, I believe that our appetite for being in government or becoming a politician will change. And that is my cry, because it shouldn't be that those who aspire to be great teachers should not be there anymore. those who aspire to be the best female truck driver should not be there anymore. These are things that we ought to celebrate as a nation so that innovation can move us forward. I was here saying that Zoom is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, which was created recently. We need to go beyond the oil industry. We need to go beyond gold. Ghana needs to wake up and look at things beyond cocoa, things beyond, our minerals. And until we have that change of mind, until our youth start thinking big and entering into the domains of Amazon or those things, we'll be stuck here considering all of our woes to be government. Because I believe that the likes of Metalex, and forgive me for putting your name out today, this is a man who's doing major brickwork, not just in Ghana, but in South Africa, just to say to one other country. Whether it's NDC or MPP,
he's still a businessman.
He's still a businessman. And I believe that until we start celebrating these people, who have managed the storm, regardless of the government in power, not to bring also Zoom Lion into this, but Zoom Lion eats whether it's NDC or MPP because he's doing business. And I'm only proffering that many people ought to reorient themselves to moving for an agenda of industrialization and being an industrial person more so than being a politician. Now, whether government has failed us or not is another question. But I believe that the indices, the perception, are skewed because, unfortunately, when you visit Germany, there'll be documentaries on the automobile industry, there'll be documentaries on ordinary engineering businesses, there'll be documentaries on innovative cleaning machines that they've done. In fact, I remember one of the vacuum cleaners in America was, done by an Australian and was made a big deal. Tyson's, vacuum cleaner. But my question is that, are we celebrating our engineers in this country, our architects? We're not doing that. Unfortunately, our media organization in this country are only focused on everything political. And listen, the verdict is out there for people to go and check. If not for Sundays, a lot of our programming in this country are lopsided on politics and not on engineering, not on innovation. And so the youth is consuming just politics and thinking that everything that is not working out in this country
is as a result of failed
because
politics.
Of politicians. So, to borrow from Kennedy GHOne, who's a very powerful businessman, we cannot take that from him. He was very particular about the need for us to conscientize our youth towards becoming industrious, more so than trying to be the next assemblyman or quote-unquote member of parliament. So my word today is to rather challenge our youth in this country. As a young man, I find myself in politics not because of the interest of just myself, but an opportunity, an avenue to help ordinary Ghanaians. And I'm talking not necessarily as a member of parliament for Anyaso Otum or as a politician, but I'm talking as a youthful person. And I'm throwing that challenge to you that let's not be the best consumers of TikTok, but the creators, the originators of such things, in the future. And how do you do that? By serious hard work. We become too much of a consumer, more so than a creator. And this cuts through whether NDC, whether MPP. And I also will conclude by one key thing that military regime has never been superior to democracy in any part of the world. And even today, the ravages of war in Liberia, if you can contrast the two countries, it is day and night for where Ghana is. Yeah. And I think that when you've experienced Liberia, my man, then you come to an appreciation that, hey, Ghana is not as bad. We could be better, but my man, we are not as bad. And let me also even contrast Ghana with Niger. Based on my experience and interaction with the average Nigerian, I can promise our youth that Ghana stands tall in West Africa. Despite our incorporation of their music, and I like their music, you know, the Burna Boys and all of these, you know, fantastic, you know, do we say Asake or whatever it is? Ashake.
Yeah, the last time I saw you at that particular sport.
All of these, you know, Nigerian things are good, but Ghana Jollof still stands tall. You understand? So I believe that we are failing to celebrate our positives in this country.
And projecting our negatives.
And we are rather, you know, the media unfortunately thrives on bad news in this country. But there are many powerful Ghanaians who are doing miraculous. I mean, this young guy, and forgive me, he's a friend, Kujo, who drove through to England. It's not just about that drive. He runs real estate business.
Saka.
Yes. You know, I went to Morning Star with his sister and he himself. And you know, so there are things that we ought to celebrate. And if, for instance, it's just a point here, if bankers were supporting, you know, Saka heavily, he'll be a multi, you know, business entrepreneurial person. But in our country, you want to do Lebo and all these people who are foreign. And I can cite stories of Ghanaian businessmen who have had to employ a white man for a contract in this country because if he had gone for it, our own people would not have given it to him. And when I hear such stories, it pains me because I can't go to Europe as a Ghanaian and just partake just as we allow them to partake. So in concluding, I am begging the ordinary Ghana boy or girl that we need to go back to basics. We can make it happen. I've sat in school with, you know, the whites and the African Americans, and we excel. Ghanaians excel in so many, you know, facets, be it soccer, be it, you know, engineering. But the key thing is that sometimes it is our thinking here in Ghana, our perspective that kills us. And I'll plead with them. I'm even of the opinion that we should lengthen the tenure. Africa cannot run on 4-year terms. We need 6-year terms. And that one, every serious politician or administrative thinker can appreciate that the Ghanaian clock does not tick like the American or the British clock. We walk slowly.
But
even ordinary engagement in Ghana, look at the time it takes. Look at how much wasted time. Today, Honorable David Opoku was, you know, cracking a joke, OPK, about the fact that Biden's letter was so simple, not sophisticated, and yet he has made his point. The Ghanaian resignation letter would have been maybe 10 pages, you know, and that is why I think that Ghana needs 6-year terms, if either 6-year single terms or 6-year 2 terms, it would have been very good for us as a nation. Someday, when I have the luxury of time and wealth, that is one private member's bill I will propose, largely because of how our culture cannot be disconnected from the knowledge we have and the way we do things in this country.
Okay.
Imagine
we don't have a lot of time.
I
have to touch
understand
on
you,
the
but
last
to
topic.
conclude, I mean, I can cite, a country where we commission KVIPs. It's sad. So that is my thought about this. The youth, we are with you, and though it might seem that politicians are not in touch with the youth, trust me, it's not all of us. And many of us are there for those who have little or no opportunity.
Okay, so we have just about 8 minutes to go.
Okay.
But let's quickly touch on the EC chair saying that, well, we will only declare results that are brought to us, where we have integrity to protect. We are not here to win elections for any political party. You were in Parliament last Friday when the EC chair was there. You also there, Mohammed, were you there in Parliament last Friday? Okay, so let me have your take, just 4 minutes each.
So I'll go first. One
So
thing I keep saying, no serious-minded political party will depend on the EC to win an election. And listen, when Charlotte was there, we did not depend on them. And now that GHOne Mensah is there, MPP will not depend on her. We'll be flawed. We'll be making a huge mistake. The only thing I remember from the former EC boss is that elections are won where? At the polling center or station. And that if we don't work hard at each polling center or station, that is how we lose our election. So we won't give too much credit to the EC in terms of a win. In football, your referee can really, mess you up. But if you intend to win the match, you score your goals regardless of how bad the linesman or the referee are. And MPP intends to not depend on GHOne Mensah. We intend to depend on our work, what we've done for this country, and what we are promising to do in the near future. And the fact that we have a powerful candidate that if you compare with a former twice rejected candidate, I think that the verdict is out, and the NDC need to really open their eyes to the fact that their candidate has been rejected twice, and that is
but
serious.
Your candidate, then Akufo-Addo, was also rejected twice. Anyway, Mohammed.
Not before performance.
Okay.
You see, after performance, if you are rejected twice, it's serious. After performance.
Okay. Mohammed,
Yes,
we have just about 5 minutes to go.
5 minutes, okay. So this particular topic, I think I was, in my earlier submission, I touched on that. Yes, of course, everybody is aware that Electoral Commission declares the results that comes to the headquarters. But there are several processes that the elections goes through before finally the results are being transmitted. And these are matters that we in NDC are always talking about. Nobody is saying that whatever figure you have at the headquarters, don't declare that. But we are saying that make sure that the processes leading to that declaration are transparent. Make sure that the right decision, because it is not only about the Electoral Commission. There are parties to it. That is why you have the major political parties, the NPP, NDC. But if all the time, when NDC make proposals, you tend to ignore them, and all the time you see NPP acting as an extended organ or extended office of the Electoral Commission, certainly you would have people like me complaining about the process. And so what we are saying is the Electoral Commissioner should ensure that should ensure that the process leading to the declaration, right from the branch, that is the polling stations, to the regional, to the constituency, the regional, to the national, are transparent. If the right people are kept there to mount the affairs of electoral commission, if the processes leading to appointing those people that are going to mount those offices are transparent, nobody will question them. But if you want to do it because you are being protected by the Constitution, therefore you can take decisions regardless whatever people are saying, that is where we have a challenge. Of course, we brought her to Parliament, to the floor of the House, so that people would have the opportunity to ask some questions. And so it was one of those questions that came up, and she said this. And so we are saying that the process leading, because election is not just an overnight, it's not something that you just sit and declare results. In fact, we've started the elections today. From recruitment of the, how do you call it, all the EC officials, from the polling stations to the returning officer, whatever. All these processes are things that we said must be free and fair, and should not, as it is allegedly said, that some party, particular party, presented a list to electoral commission to ensure that these persons are being recruited. If it is true that things like that are happening, at least, of course, you should expect that people will not have the trust. People will not have the trust that you will be able to deliver your mandate. And so we told her, we are monitoring, and we told her, I remember one of my colleagues told her that if anything happens to this country, it is she, the electoral commission, that will be held responsible.
But she says polling agents must be vigilant.
Of course, every political party polling agent will be vigilant.
Is that something that will be critical for you going into this election as a party?
As a party, yes. We have started even training our polling agents not today. And so we are not going to, because knowing her, she in particular, because she's not a new person. She was there in 2020, and we saw the kind of, results she declared. Even the result that she declared, she later came back, corrected. I think she corrected it like 3 different times. So if what you declare was really the true reflection of the vote, why would you keep, correcting yourself? And so these are what we, so because we know her, we are taking the election like a World Cup. We are going to ensure that the right agents are recruited. In fact, we've already done our recruitment. And we are giving them the necessary training. Where they need to ask questions, they must ask. Where they need to protest and ensure that even if they must stop the election at a particular polling station for the right thing to be done, all of these things, we are doing it.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Doc, thank you very much, my father.
Yes, your father. That's my daughter.
Mon père,
So that's Mohammed Shukri. He's the Member of Parliament for Sisala West, and Dr. Dixon Admakukis is Member of Parliament for Anya Sotum. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
We're winning the election.
Which election?
Okay.
Probably in a different country, not the 2024 elections.
Okay, but Doc, let me ask you this. I am learning from the World Health Organization that 90% of stroke cases are preventable. Is that the case?
Hypertension is an African problem. Even in the US, there are more blacks with severe hypertension than the whites. And it leads to stroke. And that's why if we model our lifestyles carefully and then manage ourselves on medications, we can live longer. And it is preventable. And the signs are there. I mean, I will share with you what I have later. But I'll beg us, one of our problems in this country are the stakeholders like the religious guys. And I believe in prayers, but even Benihin and all these people, they still take blood pressure medication. So, and not that Benihin is superior than you, the apostle here. But what I mean is that men of God, since God has brought the medication for them, they are taking the medication and also praying. It's like I always say that when you're going for surgery, pray that the surgeon works okay for you so that the surgery goes successful. It doesn't mean that you don't need the surgery, but pray that it goes well. So as African as we are, the momones, the salty meals we have, impacts our hypertension and can lead us to getting strokes. And unfortunately, too, our behavior in seeking health. When my head is aching, I wait. The Oyibo, when his head is aching, will go to hospital.
Yeah.
So these cultures need to be changed.
Okay.
And when your wife tells you to go to hospital,
Listen to your
man,
wife.
Listen, my man, listen. And the boys too much of the aphrodisiacs and the bitters, the bitters can also contribute to severe hypertension. You know, some men have died whilst engaging in very active sex after taking aphrodisiacs, and that was largely due to increase in pressures. And you see, when you're drunk, when your pressures are high, your senses are off. You don't even know that, hey, something is happening to me. And that is why many people who take bitters for sex need to be cautious.
Be cautious.
In Bano, so 5 minutes, you know.
Anyway, so I asked this because today is World Brain Day. We'll speak to a neurologist and we'll learn more about brain health and preventive things when it comes to the brain. Stay tuned in. That's it for the breakfast review. I'll be back shortly. Epilepsy are also preventable. Today is World Brain Day. Let's talk about brain health and its prevention. Good morning. My guest this morning is Dr. David Bodimens. He's a neurologist with the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and he joins me here in the studio. Doc, good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Let's talk about brain health and why it is important.
Okay, so today is World Brain Day, and as part of our outreach for the Neurology Society of Ghana, we're trying to raise awareness for some of the brain disorders that you mentioned, and even some more common ones, like even the common headaches that a lot of Ghanaians experience. Yes, these are all brain disorders.
Wow.
And the thing about headaches is that most people get one or two, but sometimes when you get it frequently and it's very severe, or you get migraines, then you may need to actually go see your doctor. So we want to raise awareness about these conditions, and also want to talk about prevention. In fact, the theme for this year's World Brain Day is about prevention. So like you mentioned, 90% of strokes are actually preventable. And the main thing you have to do is live a good, healthy lifestyle. And then also if you have things like high blood pressure, make sure it's treated. And any conditions that can contribute to you having any of these brain health, get it screened, identified early, and then you can prevent some of these complications from taking place.
Let's look at the prevalence in the country and the statistics and how prevalent it is in Ghana. What do we need to do?
So in terms of prevalence, in the communities, we don't really have the full numbers of what's happening there, because some of the research has not been done, and also sometimes a lot of the cases actually, they do not present early enough for us to catch them. But at the clinics, we have some statistics from there, and we know that the commonest thing we see, both at our clinics and in our emergencies, is usually stroke cases. And that is one of the major contributions to a lot of disability, a lot of mortality among Ghanaians. Another thing we see commonly is cases of things like Parkinson's and movement disorders. We mentioned epilepsy already, and then we mentioned headaches. So these are some of the common things we see at our clinics. And these are the conditions that we are hoping that with awareness and with good lifestyle, we can prevent a lot of them from eventually ending up at our hospitals.
What do I need to do to prevent a number of these things?
Okay, so first thing, we have to start as early as possible. Brain health starts right from the womb, right from infancy. So for our mothers, make sure you get your antenatals properly. A lot of mothers are put on folic acid and other supplements to help make sure that the child's brain develops properly. Then make sure our children get balanced diets. It helps with the developing brain. Make sure our children get enough sleep. Make sure they get good education, their brains are stimulated. So starting right from infancy. And then even as we grow up to adulthood, we know that our brain matures to about probably somewhere about 25, 30, then starts declining ever so slowly. So we want to slow down this decline as much as possible. So keep your brain active, learn new things, make sure your brain is stimulated. Some people like crossword puzzles, some people like things like Sudoku. It helps keep the brain active. Then make sure you get plenty of exercise, Make sure you sleep well. So about 6 to 8 hours of sleep in a day is what is recommended. And then also know your numbers. So we talked about high blood pressure, which drives a lot of our strokes. So once you start getting to the age of about 35, 40, you should be checking your blood pressures at least once a year. If you've been diagnosed with hypertension, make sure you take your medications. And then
I am laughing. I'm sure my friends who are watching will be laughing too.
about the hypertension.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So the thing about, let me stress on that a little bit because it's actually something that there's a lot of misinformation out there in the public. So a lot of people think that once you start taking your BP medications, your blood pressure goes down. That's all that you need.
But doesn't it go down?
It does go down, but the thing about it is that you need those medications to keep it down. So I usually use the analogy of, for example, if somebody has gone to if you take a ball in a beach or in a pool of water and you suppress it, just think about the BP medications like it's keeping your blood pressure below the surface. If you take away that pressure on the ball is going to go back up. Okay, so most hypertensions too, they are what we call essential hypertension, meaning that they're going to be with you for the rest of your life. So once it's been diagnosed and you start treatment and your blood pressure goes down, you need the BP medications to keep your blood pressure down.
You know, a lot of people think that, well, I'm going to be on these meds for the rest of my life, so why can't I resort to other means?
Yeah, so the thing about that is most of these other means are not proven, okay, to actually, one, control your blood pressure, and then two, make sure that it prevents a lot of these strokes and other comorbidities. And the thing about high blood pressure is that it goes through your whole system. So even though today is World Brain Day, high blood pressure can cause other things. I mean, heart problems, heart attacks, kidney problems. And these are all the things that you can prevent by taking your blood pressure medications and living a healthy lifestyle. There are a lot of people who will tell you different things in the public. I don't want to use the word predatory, but some of them are because they charge you exorbitant fees for interventions that have not been proven to work. So I think the best person to tell you how to manage your high blood pressure is your doctor.
What role does technology play when managing brain disorders or neurological disorders?
Okay, so the advances in technology are actually very helpful. So one of the things it helps us with is with diagnosis. So for example, now we have advanced scans. We can do brain CTs, which is a type of imaging. We can do what we call MRIs, which is another type of brain imaging. In fact, some of these things can pick up strokes within minutes. So if you have a stroke and you get certain types of MRIs, it can tell you right away that you've had a stroke. And that is important because for strokes, time is brain. The sooner we're able to intervene and get you the necessary medications, the more of your brain we're able to save. So if you have a stroke, you look out for things like something affecting your speech, if you have drooping on one side of your face, and then we call it FAST, fast. Okay, so face, something affecting your movement of one side, the arm or the leg, your speech, and then the T is for time. Time meaning you need to get to the hospital as quickly as possible. So if you get to the hospital quickly enough, and depending on the type of stroke we see on the scan, there are actually some medications we can give to actually restore blood supply to the brain. And if you get to the hospital within 3 hours to 4.5 hours. So awareness and presenting early to the hospital would help in those cases.
As we celebrate World Brain Day, how do we encourage a lot of people? I'm sure a lot of people do not pay attention to brain health. How do we encourage people to pay attention specifically to the brain?
So I think one of the things we can do is, some of this platform, for example, so we're using this as an opportunity to make people aware, because if you're not aware about something, then you really can't take measures to prevent it or to be mindful to look out for it when it happens. So the education is part of it. Some of our brain health disorders, for example, there's a lot of stigma associated with it. So something like epilepsy, for example, people feel that if you have this condition, it might be that you've done something bad in the past, or there's some social and cultural stigma associated with it. So we need to raise awareness, let people know that these things are brain disorders, they are common, and then they are treatable or manageable, so that you can live a good quality of life. So if people know these things, then they're encouraged, and then we can also advocate for support groups. And we have support groups for some of these conditions, for Parkinson's, for things like multiple sclerosis, whereby we can, at least provide you social support, provide you advice, and then guide you on how to go through some of these conditions.
And how do we also ensure that we reduce the stigma associated with these disorders?
Okay, so for stigma, I would advocate for three things. One, what we're doing today, awareness, education. And then I think we also need to have some, what will I say, positive representations of some of these conditions. So you have people in our governments, you have people in places of influence who have some of these brain conditions, and they want to keep it quiet. Don't want people to know about it, but they can become positive ambassadors for some of these conditions, so that people know that yes, that it doesn't limit you in any way if you have epilepsy and your seizures are controlled. It doesn't limit you in any way if you have migraines and you're taking medications for your migraines. So we need positive representation. And then, like I said earlier, advocacy and support as well. So if people know about these things and they have support for it and they know that it's a condition, brain condition like any other, then the stigma hopefully should be reduced and should not prevent them from seeking health care.
Today, what special thing are you doing at the department? Are you giving out certain things for free, certain services are reduced? What are you doing today at the neurology department?
So at the neurology department, we are doing a lot of education, not just through social media, through some of these interviews that we're having. And then at the clinics, we are talking to our patients. We have, like you can see my World Brain Day T-shirt. Yeah, we have it for a lot of our staff, so that people can see us and ask, oh, what is World Brain Day? What is this about? And what can I do to improve my brain health? Yes. So it's a concerted campaign that we have, not just at our departments, but in different aspects to raise education, raise awareness.
Awareness on brain health. Thank you very much for coming. I'm sure you out there has learned a thing or two about brain health, and so it's important that at any point in your life you need to constantly be visiting your health facility. That's Dr. David Brody-Mens. He's a neurologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. That's it for Health Alert. All right, so it's now time for Hard Talk, and our head of political desk and parliamentary affairs correspondent, Ibrahim Alassane, sat with the outgoing member of parliament for Talent, BT Baba. He's also a former deputy director for Ghana Prison Service. Let's listen to that interview.
Today, we're coming to you from Parliament. Of course, we have a venerable member of Parliament, an astute man with his career in the security services, so to speak, specifically the prison service. He rose through the ranks to the top of the Ghana Prison Service. He decided to enter Parliament. He's been in Parliament for a while now. He's bowing out. I'll find out why he wants to call it quits, even though some of us might still describe him as a young man, relatively. He's also a sports enthusiast. I want to talk about Olympics, and I'm talking about the Ghana Olympics committee. You definitely have to mention his name. I'm talking about Honorable BT Baba, Member of Parliament for Talensi, who came to the House through a by-election, which I covered. In fact, there were gunshots. They went through, they flew through my head, basically above my head, so to speak. You're live on GHOne TV and Star 103.5 FM. Honorable BT Baba, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's touch a bit on the elections that got you into Parliament. How was it like? I was there, I witnessed everything. It was quite an interesting process. Travel late in the night, and I'm talking about collation, and eventually we were declared winner through a by-election. Take us through briefly, how was that event like?
Well, I think it was normal. And by then, NDC, we had lost that seat. And because we had lost that seat, the desire to reclaim it was also very high. And also from the other side, to retain the seat was equally very high. So the situation was quite volatile, but not with violence. Yeah, it was volatile. That the expectations were high, and everybody, both parties, thinking, oh, it was a done deal. But by the special grace of God, the NDC through me emerged, and we recaptured our seat. The seat since 1992 has been NDC seat, but some mishap led to us losing that seat for the MPP, which the then candidate, who is now my paramount chief, emerged victorious. So when he decided to leave Parliament and to take up his traditional role as a chief, a paramount chief, the vacancy occurred. And so I went through the normal process of getting a candidate. That was the internal elections. I emerged victorious, continued from there, and I won the elections and came to Parliament in July 2015. So since then, NDC retained the seat in 2016, and then again we retained it in 2020.
And now you are bowing out. Why?
Yes, I'm doing that to prove to people that you can serve your party in various capacities and not necessarily being in Parliament. And as you said, I was in the security service, the prison service precisely. I was not at the very top, but I was among the top hierarchy. For a Deputy Director General in charge of operations. I retired in 2008. And you look at 2008 to date, at age 60. And now I'm nearing 75. It is only appropriate for any reasonable being, even though if I had contested, I would have still won and come to Parliament. But I had to ask myself, if God has blessed me and have lived all that long, to have gone on retirement from the prison service, very healthy, strong to do my own business. I came to Parliament. I have not gotten any life-threatening ailment, even though as you age, you have certain conditions. I think that I should be grateful to God. So in 2000, in fact, in 2016, it was my wish that if I should retain the seat for the period 2017 to 2020, what I would have done was midway during that term, I would have retired and created an opportunity for a by-election to make it easier for our candidate to win. But unfortunately, we didn't come back to power. So I continued. So in 2020, I said that was my last. I prayed to God and asked God to see me through, and that will be my last. So that even at that point, the consolidation of the seat would have been more permanent for anybody coming after me from the NDC stock to win. So that was one of the reasons why I had to bow out, and also in fulfillment of my avowed aim that politics coming to Parliament is not the only way by which you can be seen to be supporting your political party. So coming out at this time to give room for the young men to also come on board was my desire. And I think God has blessed me. We have had a very successful primaries to elect our parliamentary candidate. I never supported any. There were 14 candidates who expressed their desire. But at the time of filing, only 8 I still maintained that stand. I addressed them, and I told them I was neutral. My neutrality even started from the branch elections. If you want to be a parliamentarian, you work through the branch elections and the constituency elections. I never got myself involved. I facilitated everything. And the same way, with them going for the primaries to elect the PC, I paid every fee that will ensure a successful elections, which the candidates themselves will bear testimony to it. And we went and had a successful one. Now, my main aim is to win the elections for NDC in Talisi.
How easy would that be?
It will be
without you as a candidate.
It will be very easy. I haven't stopped doing what I have been doing as MP, and I'm not going to stop until we have been able to take the seat. So my candidate is doing very well, Daniel Mahama. Is doing very, very well. And I know that our opponents are shivering, and they know whoever. In fact, the DCE was the one that everybody thought was coming, because he pronounced on air that since I was not coming, it was he who is the most popular candidate in Talisi to win the seat. Unfortunately, he was also beaten by somebody else that he least expected. And that person coming, naturally, he's just coming to warm his his feet or test the waters, but he cannot fly. He will not be able to fly come 7th December.
Yes. In a few months, you will be 75. You've called it quit. There are many like you here in Parliament who are still going.
Yes.
Why do you think that is the case? Is it that there's a fear of leaving Parliament and what becomes of you? Because let's take it, some former members of Parliament are not doing well at all.
And that is very, very true. The conditions of service of parliamentarians is very, very bad. And that is because of public perception. And at times when you sit back and you ask yourself, do they know what the parliament, the MP, his take-home pay is? Do they know that there's nothing called free buys for the MP? They don't know that the MP is his vehicle that he is using is through loan, which he is paying back to the financier. So they don't know that the parliamentarian maintains his own vehicle and buys fuel and pays for the services of his driver. They don't know all these things. So with that in mind, they look at the parliamentarian like somebody who is serving in the executive and will have free vehicles. He has driver, he has coupons to fill his cars, not only one, 2 or whatever number of vehicles he has. He can trek and go to his constituency, and in so doing, he is being fueled by the state. But if I want to go to my constituency, I must generate my own resources to be able to go. I want to do any intervention. If the common fund, which is now highly slashed by the current administration, it means that you have to pump in your own money to do some of these things. There are some people even in the ruling government who are members of parliament. They are MPs in opposition. They whip them when it becomes necessary. And after that, who cares about them? So you can see that because the MP has no conditions of service that will give him a guarantee for the future, he will ask himself, I've gone to borrow money from the bank to run my campaign. I have all these debts surrounding me. How am I going to exit and be able to pay for it? And mind you, if at the end of this tenure, I'm not able to pay for the car loan, the bank will repossess the vehicle. Oh yes, and they have done it to so many MPs. They repossess their vehicles, sold them, and if you are lucky, you may get something out of it. And how much would that be? Because the bank will have to take all this money. So in so doing, you see that the MPs who might have lost their seats gradually start deteriorating. And it pains me having come from the security services. I'm on pension. I retired on my salary. At times you are here with us, you know that for well into the second month or the preceding month, before they will pay MPs in the second week. But me, it doesn't affect me because I know my pension pay will go through my bank. But how many of us are lucky? And look at somebody who is a young man. He has just come from the university. He has not worked for some time. His sole focus is on what he earns as a member of parliament. So with all these things, people keep on trying to see whether there will be light at the end of the tunnel. The second issue is health issues. You leave parliament, you have no guarantee for your medical bills to be paid for you. For me, I adopted a policy wise in the prison service. I never went in for medical refund. I used to pay for it. In parliament, I pay for my medical bills. The only test is when they use the laboratory system here. But that one too, not for all tests. But if they refer me, I go to whatever laboratory services and pay for it from my own pocket. You can find out from the accounts office. I've never done that. And so I have trained myself to be able to live independently, whether in parliament or out of parliament. And when I was in service, I did the same thing. My driver goes to drop me at home on Friday. I say, I'll see you on Monday. Then he's surprised because the previous master he was driving would say, oh, come Saturday, take me to this place, do this ABCD. I had my own car. I'll go and buy my own fuel. So I'm used to buying fuel. Free telephone, free utilities, and so on. Very strict with abuse of these facilities. And at times, my family will compare me to other officers, how they are able to ride in official vehicles to wherever they want to go, while they are using facilities without restrictions and so on. It has helped me today. I'm able to envisage how much I should pay for my utilities. So I think that it all has to do with the poor conditions of service, and also we should also be mindful of the fact that once our colleagues have gone through very difficult times, we should also be very careful how we handle ourselves.
Talking about repossession of vehicles of former MPs who might not be able to service the loans, is that why the public shouldn't be surprised that an MP leaves Parliament and is no longer driving? We've first said stories that an MP leaves Parliament, and even if he's driving, he's not driving in the same vehicle that he was driving when in office.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And in that context, you see the expectations of your constituents. You would have made some friends. Will you say that they shouldn't come to you? Will you be able to cancel all what you have been doing? So if you get any small resource, you share it around and so on. At the end of it, you are the poorer amongst your constituents.
Why then do you think many people are still queuing to enter parliament? In fact, when it comes to fat party primaries, huge sums of monies are paid, all manner of influences, all to come to this poverty-stricken chamber?
Yes, it's all because if I should be advising whether the person will accept it, the normal behavior of every human being will be that, because you have passed there, you don't want me to also come in. Whatever is there, let me also come and see. It is after they have left their lucrative jobs, we have people who were well paid when they came here. They realized that their salaries were far in excess than what they are receiving in parliament. Such a person regrets, but he cannot pull out. The self-ego is there. Oh, then people say he couldn't do that and he has run away. So the person continues to live like that. People have sold their properties to contest elections, from the primaries to the main elections. People are depending on, maybe if you are lucky, your spouse is also working and can support you, depending on their spouses. Then the whole thing that is so disheartening is this question of ex gratia. Yes. What is ex gratia? The Article 71 holders, office holders, they are not only MPs, but the problem is focused on MPs. Since the beginning of this session of Parliament, government has increased salaries. If I'm not mistaken, this will be the third term. Yes. If you put aggregate together, you add them together, the aggregate of it, maybe it should be 60 or 70%. And so workers are demanding. I heard about workers' union saying that now that petrol prices have escalated, they want cola. All these things MPs will not get. It is only when the current parliament is about winding up that they set up that committee on emoluments. That committee will not come and say that because we are not paying you, the MPs should be given the aggregate of it, which is 70%.
Right, so that was Hard Talk. Coming up now is Tech Daily with Kobe Nkrumah. Right, Kobe Nkrumah is standing by. You call him Spiky, I call him Kobe. Kobe, good morning.
Good morning. Call me Spiky. Why are you running away from my name, my brand name?
Kobe Nkrumah.
Spiky is a trademark.
Okay, Spiky.
Kobe Spiky, yeah.
How's it going? What do you have for us
I'm
today?
good. So a lot of people use Gmail because the largest market share of smartphone users is Android. And to use Android, you need a Gmail account. But there's one prevailing problem most of the time people come across, which is running out of storage in your email. And then you have to delete stuff, and people don't know what to delete, and then they have to create another email to just move stuff there. But if you know, you could actually buy extra storage. Yes, you could actually buy more storage for your email using a service that Google provides called GHOne. But I'm sure a lot of people will be like, hey, Spiky, but we don't have money. Why are we going to buy extra storage? Well, if you don't have money to buy extra storage, you might want to go into your mail and start deleting stuff. It's difficult to figure out what to delete, but I'm going to show you some of the easiest ways to find stuff that you could delete. Now, number one, we subscribe to a lot of newsletters, a lot of unnecessary junk that ends up in our mails. Now, one such way to discover some of these newsletters and stuff is just go to the search when you go into your mail and then search the word unsubscribe. Because every time you subscribe to a newsletter, they give you the option to unsubscribe. So the moment you search for unsubscribe, you'll find tons of emails that are coming from subscriptions. So if I click on this over here and then search, highlight, select all mails that fit the unsubscribe. Obviously, maybe there are some you want to keep, but I really, really doubt. I doubt that you want to keep every newsletter or some newsletters, because most of the time, once you're done reading, you don't delete it and it stays in your inbox, clogging it up. So I've highlighted all my newsletters, and you can see it says 1 to 50 out of many, and I'll hit delete. So it's going to ask me confirm bulk action. This action will affect all conversations in the search. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. So I hit OK, and it's going to delete all the emails that are from newsletters that are in my inbox. Another thing that you also want to delete are your social media notifications. Yes, the ones from Facebook. When somebody comments an email, you get. When someone shares your post, you get an email. When someone likes your post, you get an email. So just search for that social media platform. It could be Facebook. This is what I'm going to use. And then hit enter. And it's going to search, find all stuff that has Facebook. But mind you, this could include actual emails that you want to keep. So you want to be very, very sure about what you're going through when you go through this. Over here, I barely get Facebook emails, but here's one. So I found one here, which is my account recovery code. Now, when you go inside that email, you could find something in there that could be unique to that email. So security@facebookmail.com is the email that this is coming from. So I might want to search for security@facebookmail and delete that from my email. And that will be saving me a lot of space. So you need to be looking for these kinds of things if you want to save yourself some space. That's if you don't want to buy. But assuming you want to buy, here are the plans. You can actually get 2 terabytes for 290 Ghana cedis per month. It comes with Google Gemini Advanced. So you're getting 2 terabytes of storage for photos, Drive, and Gmail. You're getting Gemini Advanced. Gemini is Google's alternative to ChatGPT. You're getting Gemini in email. So if you're typing an email, sending an email to friends, businesses, or family, and you don't want to write the whole thing, you can use Gemini, which is a large language model like ChatGPT. Just type in there, write an email to a family celebrating their birthday, 60th birthday. Make it fun, express happiness, and wish them the best. And it'll write that full email for you so you can send. And you have it in Docs. So if you're writing a document in Google Docs, for those who don't know what Google Docs is, it's Google's online version of Microsoft Word, which allows you to create documents, write letters and stuff in there. You also have Sheets, which is Google's alternative for Microsoft Excel, and then Slides, which is Google's alternative for PowerPoint. So you can use all those things with Gemini. Gemini can also create images that you can use for these presentations and such. And you have all the other benefits that come from these plans. Now, another thing that you need to also take into consideration is when you use GHOne, which is what Google calls its storage, which is alternative to Apple's iCloud, you have most of your photos on your device being backed up to Google Photos. So over here, you have Google Drive as well. So Google Drive, in there, I have over 216 gigs worth of files. So if my email is not the culprit for filling up my space, I have Google Drive there where I can go and then delete some stuff. You have Google Photos as well. Mind you, I take a lot of photos. So as you can see, I have over 653 gigabytes worth of photos in my Google Photos. The reason why I back up to Google Photos, I'll tell you next time on Tech Daily of how the features that Google Photos gives you. Then device backups. So every device that you use that has Android that you're signing into your Gmail backs up to your Gmail, and you'll have that backup. I don't keep my backups there. I usually delete them. And then your WhatsApp backup is also there that you can go into and see. So most of the time when you back up your WhatsApp, it goes to your Google Cloud. And so you have it over here. I have about 3.45 gigabytes of backup. I can delete it or I can keep it. And this for another number, I can keep it or delete it. So yes, if your email is not the culprit for your clogged up GHOne space, it could be one of these things. So just go to one.google.com, go to the storage tab, find what's hogging up your space, go in there, find things, and delete. If you can't delete because you're so much in love with the content you have or the data you have, or you're just a hoarder, then you might want to buy space. So then consider. Either you pay $290 per month for 2 terabytes, or you can go for 115 Ghana cedis per month, which is a premium, which gives you 5 terabytes of storage, but it doesn't come with Google Gemini, just so you know. That's the reason why the 2 terabytes with Google Gemini is more expensive. Or you can go big or go home, 10 terabytes with 225 Ghana cedis per month. Or you can go for 20 terabytes for 450 Ghana cedis per month. When you think about it, it's actually very affordable because 1 terabyte external hard drive is actually about 400, 500 Ghana cedis today. So if you're getting 20 terabytes and you're paying 450 per month, it's actually very good. If you do the math and it's on the cloud, you're not going to crash. But then again, you have to apply very serious security to that to prevent your sensitive stuff from going. I'm not saying it's compromised or it could be compromised. You are probably the weakest link. So if you don't keep it secure yourself, somebody could get in. So, Serwaa, I know you're an iPhone girl, so you're probably using iCloud. How do you get rid of clutter in your cloud storage?
I don't know.
So you just keep buying?
I think so.
Yeah, we have to go inside. I'm sure there's a lot of, email newsletters that you're subscribed to, airline newsletters, the shops you've been visiting, those newsletters, all those ones, and your social media notifications must be crazy. Yeah, the shops.
Yes, you're going to have to take me through it and help me with it, Spiky.
I got
Thank you.
For a
Thank
fee.
you so much. No.
Oh,
you
you
who
pay.
just got awarded $250,000. How much will I give you that will measure up to that amount? Please. Please. Thank you very much.
Don't give small money chance.
Kobe, oh, sorry, Spiky.
Well, you can put it in there. Kobe,
Spiky, and Chroma.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For bringing us today's edition of Tech Daily.